Definitely the boozy babes.
Definitely.
That would be a crowd pleaser for us. But like you said, definitely not my kids, definitely not anybody's parents, but just people who can get through the cringe and enjoy it for what it is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Holiday Film Countdown. Today, we are going to Chicago.
That's right. This film is Bad Moms Christmas, our 49th ranked holiday film. 'Tis the season to celebrate like a mother.
Our first guest is Carrie Guillory with Design to Hire. Hello, Carrie. Please let us know what you're drinking and just a quick thought on the film.
Well, I started with a Mai Tai, but I'm going to finish with some Guinness.
Very nice.
Because it's goodness. Overall, I laughed a lot more than I thought I would, and I would definitely watch it again.
Okay.
And also joining us is Greg Guillory with Cadence Bank. Hello, Greg. What are you drinking, and what's your initial thought on the film?
Hello, thanks for having us. I'm drinking a Mai Tai, my second Mai Tai, and it's lovely. Thank you. And I enjoyed the comedy. It's a nice adult Christmas comedy.
And Greg is thanking Carrie for that Mai Tai because I as well am drinking a Mai Tai thanks to Carrie. I'm going to say my take on that film is a little too extreme, but good for a laugh.
And I am drinking an Austin Beer Works Floaty Hazy Session IPA.
It's a mouthful.
Wow,
Yeah.
but it's really good.
Say that after a few.
And
This film made the countdown because it's a fun change of pace, and we knew we'd enjoy watching it and discussing it with Carrie and Greg.
All right. Well, Bad Moms Christmas is written and directed by the duo of John Lucas and Scott Moore. Though it's set in Chicago, the primary filming was done in Atlanta. This film was released in 2017.
that's right. A lot of the exterior shots, well, all of the exterior shots were Chicago, but it was an Atlanta location. John Lucas and Scott Moore also wrote and directed the original Bad Moms movie, of which this film, A Bad Moms Christmas, is a sequel. Together, the two of them, Lucas and Moore, also wrote The Hangover. And getting into the lead cast, we have Mila Kunis, Katherine Hahn, and Kristen Bell as the main stars, and then some very notable other stars as their moms, so the moms' moms. And we'll get into that later as we discuss the characters.
All right. So, Carrie, what's your history with this movie? Have you seen it before?
So I thought I had seen the whole thing, but I had not. A nail salon that I used to go to played movies all the time during Christmas. This one was always on.
Okay.
But apparently I've seen the last 30 minutes of it several times, but not the first half.
That's an interesting pick for a nail salon to have this movie on.
Yeah, they did a good job of only showing that kind of movie when there were no kids there.
Okay.
But yeah, it was definitely, I think, shocked some of the ladies in the
I
nail
would say
salon.
so.
Not as much as the first Bad Moms, but
Okay.
definitely on that level.
Okay, and Greg, what was your prior experience with this film?
I had not seen this before. I remember when it came out, seeing the ads and thinking, oh, that looks pretty funny. But I had not seen it. I was interested to hear that the director wrote The Hangover because I did have some hangover vibes during some of the
Definitely.
more outrageous
Yep.
scenes.
Well, it starts with a flashback.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, definitely.
There we go.
Yeah.
How do we get here?
Okay, and my history of this is I didn't see it in the theater, but I have seen it before. A long time ago, it came on TV, and I watched it, but not like, I felt like I was doing other things, and maybe I wasn't sitting down seriously watching it, but I got the gist of it. But rewatching it now, I totally got a whole nother vibe, I guess, to it that I didn't feel like I picked up the first time.
I've also seen it flipping through channels during the season. It seems like one that's pretty commonly replayed on regular or streaming TV. And I had pretty much seen the middle section and probably didn't see the raunchiest parts as much as I did this time.
Okay, because would you say the raunchier parts are put at the beginning since you started in
Either
the
that
middle?
or they didn't go
Because you were
there.
watching it on a streaming.
right.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, with commercials. So
Yeah, like edited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and watch the trailer now.
Let's do Christmas our way.
On November 1st.
Your house looks great. Did I do anything to help?
Not unless you know how to magically fix Christmas lights.
I can do that.
That's pretty hot. I won't lie.
Being bad.
I'm kind of on a first date with Santa number 2.
How'd you guys meet?
Oh, Waxy was
Yeah.
is better than ever.
I heard you screaming at Daddy in the bedroom.
Daddy and I were just playing a little fun grown-up game.
You played the game 7 times.
6.5, but who's counting?
A Bad Mom's Christmas. Rated R. November 1st.
All right, so what does everyone think of that trailer? Who wants to start?
I'll jump in. I thought it was a fair representation. You know, sometimes the trailer paints the movie one way, and then you watch the movie and you think, that's not really what that movie was about. I think that trailer was a straightforward representation of the crazy comedy you're going to get.
Yeah, I can see that. I also think that a lot of the funny lines are in the trailer. So, you know, like when you go to a movie and you're like so excited to see it because the trailer's so good and you're like, oh, all the good parts are in the trailer. But there were a lot more good parts outside of the trailer. But the trailer definitely, if I had been seeing that for the first time, I would have wanted to go see that with my girlfriends.
Yeah, I agree that it definitely showed a good representation of what the movie was about. And I feel like you start out, and especially myself as a mother of 3, and I can relate to some of the craziness at Christmas time and just having these thoughts in the back of my head of what if we just did it different this year, you know, and took away some of that stress. But then I can't relate to how they handled the stress. I mean, I didn't mean that I wanted to go get drunk at the mall and dance crazy with Santa for pictures. You know, that's not, I mean, I just feel like it's a little extreme,
Yeah.
but I think maybe that's what they were going for, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of funny lines and just little running gags along the way that aren't in the trailer, which help round it out. But it does definitely give you a lead in. And if you saw the first one, it would be hard not to come back.
Yeah. I agree with
Fair
that.
enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's time to go inside the numbers. Bad Moms Christmas grossed $72 million in the U.S. and $56 million internationally for a worldwide box office total of around $130 million. It cost $28 million to make, so the net profit was around a cool $100 million. Also, Bad Moms Christmas has an average Letterboxd review score of 2.6 out of 5. And we here will all be scoring it ourselves later.
Okay, well, just let me say that 100 million and it has the rating of 2.6. That to me just says we want something different at Christmas. Like it just says like it's screaming to me because I'm like, what? To me, that's a lot. I feel like for that movie, it's not like it's this great movie. I think it's just different.
I think probably it's a holiday themed movie. People are going to go to the theater and see everything. And that's probably where all the money came from. And then after seeing it, was like, well, I kind of wanted some more holiday love. And it was really just moms and daughters getting over their anxieties towards each other, which could have been any season.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like the movie that I'm gathering up my family and my extended family who come to my house for Christmas and going and seeing this movie.
Right.
It's just it's me and maybe my sister and some girlfriends.
Yeah. It's definitely not one you take your family to go see.
No.
I'm kind of wondering how $100 million stacks for a Christmas comedy or a Christmas movie at all, or comedies in general, right? I don't have a perspective on it, but people are definitely looking for something different if they're going to see this at Christmas.
Yeah, we've seriously gotten away from comedies when you get right down to it, comedy films. Since The Hangover and Bridesmaids, they come along, but they're few and far between now. So I'm sure they were very pleased with those numbers. And I also wanted to say that I think they spent the bulk of that $28 million on actor and actresses' salaries. That was a salary spend.
Yeah, because I don't...
Talent fees.
I agree, because, I mean, there's so much film in Georgia now. They probably didn't have to spend a lot to do location there. And everybody has shots of Chicago, you know?
And the talent was pretty stacked.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very.
Yeah.
they're all pretty well known.
Yeah.
Okay, well, as mentioned previously, this is a sequel to Bad Moms. A couple of fun facts here. This sequel was released only 15 months after the original.
Really?
So they knew what they were doing from a follow-up and marketing side. And of course, they hit a November release so they could get that holiday crowd in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also of note, Kathryn Hahn wrote a personal letter to Susan Sarandon, pleading that Sarandon play her mom in this movie. And it worked. Susan Sarandon has a heart, I guess.
I think she probably liked that character.
I bet she did. There's
It's kind of a fun one to play,
There's
right?
a really terrible movie with her and Goldie Hawn, and they're like these ex-groupie chicks, and it was like, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway,
I don't know.
it was exactly that character from that movie, and I think she really enjoyed that movie.
So she already
did as
had
well.
it.
Yeah.
You said to dial it up.
I have to think of the name of that movie, because if you go look at Susan Sarandon in that movie, she looks exactly like the character from Bad Moms Christmas.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the setting and the Christmas decorations that were going on in this movie. I felt like looking at the houses, all three of them were pretty decked out, whether they didn't totally necessarily start that way, but they ended up with some pretty nice Christmas decorating. What do you think?
I agree.
I mean, the opening scene where the tree's down, but it's like fully decorated because obviously it's a flashback, right?
Yeah.
And the house is fully decorated. I'm like, wow, just knowing, being the one who does most of the decorating of the house inside. I mean, Tim does the outside. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of hanging.
All I could think about was, when this is over, I have to take it all down, and I'm stressing out because I already don't want to do it.
Gotcha.
We do that.
Well, I love it when, let's see, it's Amy wakes up to one morning and all you hear is like the staple gun.
Yeah.
And it's the mom decorating the house. It's not the mom, though. It's her crew.
The crew.
The crew that she has.
Ruth.
And
her.
Ruth, yes.
She
Ruth.
called it the Christmas Cavalcade.
Yes. But the staple gun, I mean, you're putting holes in your sheetrock, you know. That's my thing. I'm like, don't mess up the walls. Make sure you're using those things that you can take it down nicely. You know, I have all those to hang the wreaths on the windows and on the walls. I'm just like, they're just like, all you hear is the staple gun going on the walls to hang the garland.
It is funny. So when you were growing up, did your mom go like all out with Christmas decorations?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, it's interesting fact is like my mom did, but honestly, my dad did even more.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It was my dad. And I remember one time this one year that every time I came home from school, it kept getting better. Like, seriously, like just when you think there couldn't be more.
Daily editions.
There was more.
Yeah.
Yes. And like I grew up in a house where we always had a real tree growing up. And we would go and we'd pick it out. It'd be a family thing. We'd go pick it out. Then we had to wait a whole to the next day to decorate it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what my parents made us do. And it was like anxiety, like, oh my gosh. But then getting off the school bus the next day, you're like running. We get to decorate the Christmas tree. You know why?
Why'd they make you wait?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. So that it was fluffed.
Oh my gosh.
So that the branches were down and we could hang the ornaments correctly.
I mean, they have a point.
When you're decorating.
I don't know. I would never be that way now, but you
Yeah.
know. But it's interesting because you think that's so picky and precise, and you might think my mom is like ISIS, but not ISIS, Sandy. But she actually was not. I mean, we kids, us three kids, there were three kids, we decorated it. And one year, you couldn't even see the tree from all the icicles that we had
Oh my gosh.
thrown up on it. So, yeah. So she wasn't quite that kind of mother,
Yeah.
even though we had to wait. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Do you guys do professional level decorating? Because we're somewhere more down home with our decorations. Like, it's nice and there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
That's because it goes back to the, if I put it up, it has to come back down. And I think you've probably noticed over at least the last 8 years, it gets more minimalistic. Well, because like our kids are, and your kids are older too now.
Right.
It's like, hey, they get all excited. We go pick out the tree. We always get a real tree.
Okay.
And then they'll put like a couple ornaments up, and then it's just me. And so I put everything up, I take everything down, and it's like, I really want to enjoy this, but it's such a chore sometimes.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, we don't go professional. We spend some time.
It's all done
and
in-house.
we're pretty visible.
All of us.
But
Yeah.
we have a system, and
You have some nice outdoor lights.
yeah.
thank you.
The Christmas cavalcade, though, was a whole different level.
Yeah.
The blue theme, all blue.
It was National Lampoon's level.
That's true.
But in an orderly, well-maintained fashion.
And they came on at the first, they came on when they went to see them.
But
Everything worked.
My thing was that in the movie, what was the deal with, I'm getting mixed up with the names now. Okay, Sandy. When she had the house decorated for her daughter, right? For Amy?
That was Ruth.
Ruth, okay. I'm sorry, I'm mixing them up. What was with the birds when they came out?
pheasants?
Yeah.
No, they were
I mean,
partridges.
Partridges
in a pear tree.
But
Partridges
what was
in a
she
pear tree.
talking about? The shooting of them or something? But they'll come back.
She said they don't have, I didn't write it down. They don't have any
Any sense of direction?
No.
They'll be dead in an
It
hour
was
or
like,
something
Joy. They didn't bring joy.
no, they don't have any survival skills, so they'll all be dead within an hour.
She did say that.
And then the next batch, can we paint them white, please?
Because she feels like the house wasn't decorated well enough for
Right.
the kids,
Yeah.
right? So she took it upon herself to decorate her, or to have her daughter's house decorated. I did see a lot of snow, so that was nice. There was
a lot of snow.
but I didn't see. Oh, and they did caroling, so there were carolers.
Big time. They won the Carolers Cup.
That's,
But who
that's
was
true.
in competition? There was no one else caroling. Like, I was thinking, did she just bring that cup to give to her family?
She may have.
That's something
yeah.
my mom would totally do.
But they hit 300
We
votes.
won the trophy.
We won the trophy.
I won. I mean, we won.
I mean, it's ours. You guys were there.
Is that your mom's style?
Winning, yes.
yes.
Caroling, no.
All right.
But it was funny when they were out and they were trying to. Now that was ISIS. They were acting like they were taking charity at the grocery store
yeah.
when it was really for them. And I think you even brought up when we were watching, someone had a watermelon.
Yeah.
in the cart. And we're like, wait, it's Christmas. Are there watermelons at Christmas?
Like, what are they doing?
Should have been
and
a
in
pomegranate
Chicago,
or something.
of all
Yeah.
places.
That's how you know it was filmed in Atlanta.
There you go.
True. That was funny.
Where's the Christmas watermelon?
What about the stolen Christmas tree from Lady Footlocker?
Oh, that was great.
Tree ornaments. That was
Yeah.
The best part about that was when the dad was like, look, it's covered in little shoes.
Like he sees the cuteness of
Yeah.
it, and
He's
she's
so
just
And the
like,
mom
it's
is like,
hideous.
He has to be. Let's see. The only other real Christmas trope I saw was gingerbread house decorating.
they did do that.
They
Yes.
did that at the school. Some
I
of
didn't
it
see any
inappropriate.
mistletoe.
No mistletoe.
No mistletoe.
There was sort of a new take on the mall Santa. That scene got a little out of hand.
Oh, the photo shoot with Santa.
Shoot with the mall Santa.
I knew with all the dirty dancing with Santa going on.
Yeah, he was reluctant for about 7 seconds, and then he was into it.
He's like, all
It's
right,
like, all
let's
right,
do
this
this.
is a nice switch.
So. All right, so let's talk about the characters and the actors. So I kind of feel like Mila Kunis was the lead here.
Yeah.
She was shown the most. You would know her from that 70s show and many movies.
Well,
And
and
then-
it starts with her.
She's the first person.
Yeah, it starts with her.
And it's that way in the first one, too. Yeah.
Okay.
And her mother is the most prominent mother. Christine Baranski plays Ruth, Amy's mom. And by the way, Christine Baranski stars in a higher ranked holiday film that we'll cover in a later episode of the Holiday Film Countdown.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You'll have to watch.
I'm going to have to wait
Yeah,
and see.
it'll come along. And then Catherine Hahn is Carla, and she's the one who got Susan Sarandon to play her mother, Isis. And they're kind of the rebel types. Her mom's kind of a bohemian or a wanderer, and comes to her mother when she needs help or needs to hide, she said. And then,
When she needs money or she's hiding from someone.
and then Catherine Hahn is also in a much higher rated holiday film to be featured later in this countdown, like way toward the top. So, and then Kristen Bell plays Kiki, and she's the one with the smothering mom, played by Cheryl Hines, by the name of Sandy.
Yep.
And we know Cheryl Hines from Curb Your Enthusiasm. And then Kristen Bell, I know her best from The Good Life. That was something we watched a lot of.
Oh, wait, The Good Place?
I'm sorry, The Good Place.
I love that show.
The Good Place.
Saving Sarah Marshall. That's my favorite.
No, Forgetting
Forgetting
Sarah
Sarah
Marshall.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
And Mila Kunis is in that, too.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Crossover.
And then we know Susan Sarandon from Rocky Horror Picture Show, Bull Durham, Thelma and Louise, many more. As Carrie commented earlier, she aged between Rocky Horror Picture Show and Bull Durham and then stopped aging.
Yes.
That's our conclusion.
Yep.
So anyone have a favorite character or actor they want to discuss?
My favorite character was Carla. I thought she was oddly the most normal. I say that loosely. If you've seen the movie, you'll understand. She's pretty raunchy, but she's also true and pure. I think pure to herself. I don't know. Good heart, definitely a good heart. And there's nothing wrong with the other characters, but she just felt.
She was the one who most wanted the relationship with her mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
By far, at least for most of the movie. So
Yeah. I think my favorite pair was Amy and Ruth. and just, I love both of the, actually, I love all of the cast in this movie. There's not anyone I don't like. But what's her actual, Christine Baranski. Everything she's been in is hilarious. She is such a great character actress, and she can sing. So if you've seen Mamma Mia with her in it,
Yep.
and she just steals the show. And I think it's like her attitude is kind of like, well, we're just going to do it this way. And here it is. And I don't know, I like it.
I think I liked Kiki just because to me, she's like the Hallmark Christmas character. And it's funny when a scene comes up in my head when they're at the bar and they're watching the Santa strip, and he takes off his clothes, the number 2 Santa, and they're all commenting on what they're seeing. And she goes, he has such sweet eyes, or nice eyes.
And then she goes, I love his panties. They're so festive.
Just the sweet, wholesome, small town girl, kind of like from, the typical Christmas that you would see.
Did we see any characters annoying here? Or
Well, they're all a little annoying in their
Well,
own
they
way,
all
right?
have their moments,
did
right?
they get tired? Did anyone get tired? I felt like some points along the way, Sandy's character, which was the smothering mom, it kind of got repetitive. Just that whole bit where she's like hanging on her daughter and just
naming illnesses.
Yeah, we kind of got the gist of it.
I have cancer of the heart. It's stage 12.
It's not that Cheryl Hines didn't do a good job acting. It was just it just kept
script.
going on and on.
I think they probably, they may have done that on purpose just to make you feel as cringy as Kristen Bell felt.
It worked.
Like, it worked. Yeah.
There we go.
It's like the characters, you hate the character, but you love them because they're so bad.
For me, Ruth's mom, or Amy's mom, Ruth, cringy is the one word I would use. It was over the edge, too uncomfortable.
I could see a lot of your mom in her.
I mean, Mr. Floyd had something, right?
Like, it has to be just perfect. We have to do it at this time. We have to stay at this hotel. We have to do it this way. So you're probably watching that going, oh, God, the anxiety.
What's Christmas without anxiety?
And
She
my
definitely
mom's a
stole the
healthy
show.
mix of Ruth and what's Kiki's mom? Sandy.
Yeah,
Where
Sandy.
she just wants to hang on to everybody, but she's going to go all out with the decorations.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. I thought, going down the list, I thought Peter Gallagher did a good job as Hank, Ruth's husband, Amy's dad. He was subtle. You could tell he was kind of happy to not be home. I think he's just happy to be in someone else's house because it takes some of the pressure off of him with his wife.
I could see
Right,
that.
like the focus isn't on him, it's on the daughter now.
So he's just enjoying it. I could just see he did a good job. And I watched The OC, so I remember Peter Gallagher as Sandy Cohen in The OC.
Well, he had
however
depth,
many
too.
seasons.
He had that speech that was one of the more prominent speeches in the movie, right?
About how she really was good at heart.
Right,
How Ruth was
exactly.
really a good person.
Yeah.
And what was going on with her internally from her mother.
Any comments on Kenny G showing up?
I think that was like one of the, I mean, we all knew he was going to be in there, but it was kind of one of those over the top things where it's like, wow.
I never thought I would see Kenny G do the dental.
And I did not want to see him doing what he did to his
Yeah, that was awful.
what do you call that kind of saxophone? It's not an alto sax.
Oh, it wasn't. You're right. It wasn't a clarinet. It was a sax. He plays sax.
Yeah, he does not play clarinet.
Is he not playing clarinet?
No, it's like that. It's the saxophone that just goes straight down.
It's the long and skinnier one.
Yeah.
The straighter one.
No, it doesn't have the J shape.
No,
That's why I got
but it doesn't belong between your legs.
No.
Musical instruments generally aren't supposed to.
This is not band
Word
camp.
of wise for
I
tonight.
think he was a good sport because they made a comment that he's cheap now. It's cheap to get Kenny G now. And then he shows up in the movie. I'm like, you go, Kenny.
He's done a lot of that in the last 10 years. Remember when he was in that Katy Perry video last Friday night?
That's right.
Hey, if you can take, 10 hours of work and bank 12 grand,
Yeah.
15 grand,
I mean, he's
20 grand, I don't know
He's
what
Kenny
his
G.
fee is for that.
Does anybody know what the G stands for?
Oh, that's a great question.
I don't know.
No.
We don't know. We're not supposed to know.
No, it's a secret.
I also want to give an honorable mention to Tais Swindell, the male stripper.
Okay.
I just thought he really gave a lot of energy to that part, and then also he had like this great heart, right? I I mean, first scene, legs up in the air, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Getting his balls waxed. But you can tell he's this nice guy. And then he does these crazy... Anyway, I thought he did a nice job.
So how can you tell he's this nice guy?
I don't know. I mean...
Because he comes back. You think?
Yeah, remember
No,
he
I'm
has
just
to go to
asking.
That
Cleveland?
makes sense.
I mean, he comes back. He's like, hey.
He's probably got a lot of options, just saying.
Yeah.
With those moves.
I don't know. He lives in Cleveland. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's just the moves.
Patty, if you're listening, I don't mean it.
Okay, what about the scenes? Let's move on to the scenes. Some of the funniest scenes.
I thought the waxing scene was hilarious. I know I keep... It just... So awkward, so weird, and yet it was lighthearted and funny. Those two did a good job together.
I think it's awkward for both people, right?
Yeah.
The waxy and the waxer.
Yeah.
It's so awkward. But you're right. They did a good job, definitely, of doing that.
Yeah, I like the running line of gifts that Ruth was giving the grandchildren.
Here, have some Xboxes.
Yeah, Xboxes, iPhones. And at the end, it was seasons 1 through 6 of The Walking Dead.
That was so random.
But all the other gifts were Apple products, wasn't it?
No,
it,
Xbox is
Xbox.
Microsoft.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Close, though.
the other
But then
one was
iTunes and iPhone.
Yes.
There was a fair bit of marketing in that movie. I imagine those were all brand names that were marketing.
Well, like the beer was like a fake beer. It looked like Pacifico, but if you looked really closely, it said Cerveza Claro or something like that.
All right.
But the liquor bottle they were drinking out was a Bayou cocktail from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Just brand name. Shout out to New Orleans.
Yes. Who dat?
On a more serious note, I felt like when I believe it was Amy that brought up, I'm doing things that make me question myself. Why am I even doing this? When they were all stressed out.
Yeah.
At Christmas time, like she gave the coffee guy a candle. Why did I give my barista a candle?
candle.
Like, what am I doing? You know, like we stress ourselves out
Yeah.
at Christmas time. And sometimes I can relate to that. Like, wait, why did I just give the postman something? I don't know. I felt the need to, you know?
Yeah.
And then another thing that, on a serious note, scene was when I think it was Kiki. I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the kids are helping her put up the ornaments on the tree. And then she's like, why are we putting the brown one in the front?
Yeah.
Let's move it. Okay, I can relate a little to that. Like, come on, kids, help me. And then we're like, okay, wait, they're not doing it the way
Never
I want
mind.
it. And you're secretly moving it around.
Yeah.
It's like, what does it really matter? Does it?
No.
Not really. But we all get into it like that. So I thought that I could relate to those scenes, and I thought they were funny.
Yeah.
I found the spiritual, actual Christmassy part was the time they spent in the church.
Yeah.
Our Lady of Perpetual Suffering. Ruth's Choice.
I always go to midnight mass and I go to Our Lady of Perpetual Suffering.
Wonderful. And by the way, it looks like the Home Alone church, and it is in Chicago. Well, actually, I'm not sure. Maybe the exterior was filmed in Chicago. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like the Home Alone church felt bigger.
A little bigger. Okay. I think you're right. It was taller.
Yeah.
It was definitely a sitting in the pews vibe, though, from that movie. Big scene there.
What I found funny about that scene was when they get there, they're like the only people there. And I was like, isn't it supposed to be midnight mass? Like,
I know.
where is everybody?
Yeah, on Christmas
And
Eve, are
then-
you kidding me? No one's there. That's
Well,
when everyone goes.
Then when they show them again and the church is full, all I could think about, and Greg, you know this because we used to go to midnight mass with my parents, and my dad would be like, they live like half a mile from the church, and we would get there like midnight mass. We would get there at 10:30. And like I would bring a crossword puzzle or a book to read, and my dad would get so mad. But he had to have these specific seats, and I was like, wow, there's no one there. They must be doing the early thing like my parents did. So we're not the only crazy Catholics out there.
Interesting.
And then everybody was there.
What town were you in?
Like,
What church? What town?
oh, Coppell, Texas, which is outside of Dallas. But we didn't move there until I was 16. That was St. Anne's. My main church growing up was St. Anthony's in California.
Hey, what town in California?
Manteca, California.
Shout out.
Co-Roadrunners. That was our mascot. Not the church's mascot, the Catholic school's mascot.
Got it.
Church's mascot, I think, was like Jesus.
All right. We've covered the relatable scenes, right?
I think so. I mean, I definitely told mine that I could relate to.
What do we think about the ending?
Okay.
A little cheesy, but
In a Christmas movie.
what you'd expect from a Christmas movie.
Different.
I did not expect the moms to all leave on Christmas night and go to Vegas.
That's an unusual Christmas decision.
Yeah.
It had to be cheesy.
Sure.
Yeah.
There was no other way for this movie. I mean, it's a Christmas movie first of all, and then it's Bad Moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. All right, so anyone have a best line or quotable line?
I did like this line, and I failed to write down what scene it was from, but it was from the beginning of the movie, and it's Ruth saying, "I swear to God, I will drive you to a fire station and leave you there." And I can't remember if she was talking to...
She was talking to Hank.
Yeah, she was talking to the husband, and he was
guy.
like, okay.
He was like, please do it.
And one of the other funny things was Kiki's mom, Sandy, was talking to her about, oh, remember, this is when you had that shirt and your breast, one of your breasts came in and then the other one just popped out. I didn't write it down correctly because it was kind of long, but I thought that was funny.
It was about 30 seconds straight of just completely awkward statements.
Yeah.
From a parent to a child.
Yeah.
The writing in these has gotten so over the top. To your point earlier, and it's funny and we laugh. But, I mean, honestly, I'm sitting there for a third of the movie like, oh, I feel so bad.
There is a moral to the story.
Yeah.
And towards the end, not totally the end, when Amy says, I got all caught up with fighting with my mom. And instead of just like realizing, hey, the kids do kind of like the over-the-top stuff at Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was more of, she pulls, I'm going to pull a little harder, this tug-of-war game. I think she realized, hey, wait, why am I fighting with my mom? She's really just trying to make it a nice Christmas for us.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a little bit of the moral of the story that's going there, but there were definitely some, and probably her character arc, like realizing, hey, wait, it's not just my mom being crazy. Maybe I'm adding a little bit to this myself.
Yeah. Well, going back to the kind of the moral of the story, I mean, I think you said it well, Jamie, but the obvious ones to me were sort of family, especially around Christmas, even though there's so many tough things that come with family, right? Forgiveness, Christmas, family, all of those things kind of come together at that time of year. Mm-hmm. And and boy, there were some things to have to forgive, right, in this movie.
Yeah.
So if those women could overcome those items, right, we can all be together with our families at Christmas.
Right, and I felt like for the moms at the end, what it really came down to, well, my mom was way worse than me. I'm not near as bad as my mom was to me, to my daughter, so it's kind of like passing it down to the next line, and that they didn't really mean to be that way. They thought they were better because they were better than their or
mom.
Easier going than their moms, but yet their daughters did not feel that way. They still felt like, oh my God, this is overwhelming with my mother here,
Well, I guess you eventually get there if that keeps working that way.
I mean, you would hope eventually it gets better and better as the line goes down.
The good news about Ruth is she didn't live in the same town.
Yeah.
Right.
So that changes things.
Definitely.
As far as tolerance and numbers of days and such, and just getting through. But like Hank said, she's a really good person, but not necessarily the best mom. That's the way I felt about her.
Just knowing that the Christmas time is only a short little season, and we'll move past this. If we're all still alive.
There was also a moment to me in the scene where Wanda Sykes plays the therapist, and Sandy and Kiki have gone to a therapy session to try to figure out how to set some boundaries. And Sandy takes off, and Kiki says, she's crazy, right? Or why is she so crazy? And Wanda Sykes goes through this just description of what it is to be a parent.
Yeah.
Right.
What you've gone through by the time that your kids are adults or even, teenagers, right?
Right.
A few teenagers. In
Oh,
this
yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Your mom was probably pretty normal before she had you, but then you were born. And you didn't sleep for 6 months, so she didn't sleep for 6 months. And you refused to eat. And when you did eat, you would barf all over her clothes. And that made your mom a little crazy. And then you fell off your bike and you broke your arm. And then you got bullied in school. And then you started dating that weird dude with the stake through his nose. And all those things made your mom a little more crazy.
To me, that hits home, right? Because it's stuff we're going through on a day-to-day.
Quite the journey.
Yeah.
Quite the journey.
Yes, and it does make you a little crazy. It gives you some gray hair.
And it makes you appreciate your parents.
I feel like I'm still catching up on
does.
sleep from when the kids were babies.
Does
At
anyone-
least Paxton. Allie was a pretty good sleeper.
Yeah, and Ruth, she said, moms don't enjoy, they give joy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And just the way she delivered that, I mean, it's in the trailer and everything, but that's so good.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
I can really,
It's it's very like a boomer thing to say, like,
Right.
I'm going to make sure everyone has a good time. Nobody worry about me, but everybody worry about me.
Yeah.
Well, as someone married to a mom, I can totally relate.
Okay. All right.
All right, so we've got time for some hot takes if anyone has anything to say here.
I will say, for being a Christmas movie, there really wasn't Christmas music except for the one scene of caroling. What I did notice is at the trampoline place, the background song was Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue. And I was like, okay, there's your Christmas soundtrack.
Yeah, I think that we'll get to the soundtrack in a little while, but I feel like the Christmas songs were very background.
Yeah.
And then the non-Christmas songs were more prominent. And they were just targeting their audience that way.
Yeah, I think so.
That was probably intentional.
I think it was intentional. It was their twist again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other hot takes?
I don't think this is a hot take at all, but I just thought it was funny because this is more of a scene where they're at the mall and they're looking out at the beginning and the kids are all screaming and crying and the moms are trying to gather the kids to line up to go take the picture with Santa. And it's like, yeah, why do we do that?
Yeah.
Like, why do we fight our kids? The kids are screaming. The moms are like pulling their hair out, trying to grab their kids. And they're thinking, can we change this? Let's not do this year, And just going back to that scene, I'm like, yeah, why do we do that?
Well, the other thing, I'll say this for a hot take. The whole idea of a mall, like, that was, talk about cheap location because you can go to any mall because they're abandoned, basically.
That's true.
But it's like, it almost makes the movie seem like it's 10 years older than it actually is because you never see stuff take place in malls.
Except around Christmas. I'm guilty of going to malls around Christmas. That's the only time I'd ever step foot in a mall, which is ironic because that's the worst time to
Well, if you have little kids, you're taking them there to sit on Santa's lap, too. I mean, it's where you go.
We never did that.
No?
No.
You skipped it.
We did it
Or you
once.
did it at the country club or something?
We did it once at the Domain, and it was outside, so
Okay,
it wasn't that bad. But I don't think Paxton was even born yet.
I've
And
seen enough Christmas comedies recently where now it feels kind of creepy.
I know.
you smell like beef and cheese. Sorry, wrong movie.
Some of the kids have them at their schools now, like at preschools.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so you can knock it out there and save you.
And remember the little Christmas party in Wells Ranch? They always had one in the park.
Is that a memory we have from when we were kids? Like, do you remember going to the mall and sitting? We remember it happened, but is it a poignant, important memory to you? So
No, because
tradition.
I would
It's
want
the reason we still do
to.
it.
I would want to go. I remember my dad would take me, but he wasn't going to buy any pictures. So there was like, you could sit on Santa's lap for like 30 seconds and tell him what you want if you weren't buying anything. And it was like, what do you want? Bam, you're gone.
I don't know if they'll let you do that anymore.
Probably not. This was in the early 80s or late 70s.
No, I like to go because I had to get my information communicated on up to the North Pole.
That's a good point.
I mean,
That's a good point.
I didn't want to go without.
How else is Santa going to hear?
He knows everything, but still you want to be sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. All right. Well, as far as the parent guide, it is rated R, and it definitely should be rated R.
Yes. Agreed.
For all the reasons, for language,
Overtly sexual scenes.
yes,
Smoking
yes.
pot.
yeah, drugs,
Stealing people's groceries right out of their cart.
Animal behavior.
exactly. Yeah, you don't want to see this with your kids, and even I feel like teenagers wouldn't totally get this because
No.
they're just not aware
It's
of
definitely
the way Christmas could be yet.
It's definitely like a
Maybe young adult
Mom
and on,
or
but definitely
young
geared
parents.
more towards
Yeah.
moms and I mean dads, just people who have kids who
Yeah.
know that Christmas is a wonderful time of the year with some crazy on the side.
a little chaotic at times.
That's so good. Put that T-shirt.
Okay. So that is definitely why I definitely feel like it should be rated R, which it is, and it's not for everyone.
No.
Okay, well, let's move into the soundtrack. Many, many songs, believe it or not, on the soundtrack. Like 30 songs.
Really?
Yes. As we mentioned earlier, a lot of background. Very,
Okay.
very faint. So I was aware of the soundtrack watching it, and I was listening for them.
Oh.
But unless you are, you don't pick up on it as much. Blue Christmas by the Lumineers was the opening song, and I like the Lumineers, so I picked up on that. I like that one.
I picked up on that one too because that's when the tree was
Yeah.
down and all the decorations were
all blue.
It was all blue, which
Nice catch.
is a little different because, you know, Christmas you think of red and green, maybe gold, but and I like to decorate with blue, but like it was a lot of blue, but then the song, I picked up on that at the beginning, even though I didn't have the list.
Okay, another one is Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses, and that was playing during the drunken mall chaos scene when they were just going crazy in the mall. And then 12 Days of Christmas and Deck the Halls by Kenny G during that overblown forbidden party at Amy's house. It wasn't very much of the song.
Right.
Enough to just let you know Kenny G's in the house.
And he's playing Christmas songs.
And then we kicked him out.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if I figured Carrie might have picked up on this. There was a Jingle Bells rendition by Gwen Stefani when they were cleaning up the house at midnight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're right.
So
I didn't pick up that it was Gwen Stefani, though. I like that.
those are the ones that I noticed that were Christmassy songs.
Yeah.
The other songs were
Lizzo at the end.
Lizzo on the credits, yeah.
Motley
What's
Crue.
the Lizzo song? Something about tossing her hair back.
Yep.
Good as hell.
That's it. Good as hell.
There you go.
Feeling good as hell.
All right. Well, let's rate this. So, Carrie, what do you think? From 1 to 5, 5 being the best, what would you rate it?
We can go decimal points here?
And why?
Or just 5 numbers?
You can do what you want.
Oh,
Yep.
I like
You're-
it.
Freeform.
Yeah.
I give it a 3.2.
Okay.
Lots of comedy. Plot could have been a little bit better, I think. Way over the top in some parts. But if I was having like a Christmas party with my girlfriends and it was on in the background and you could just kind of watch some funny parts, that would be fine. But I don't think I'll ever sit down and watch it from beginning to end again.
Okay.
But if it was on, I might stop and watch it for a few minutes.
Right. Especially if you know what parts are coming up. You're like, oh, this
You're
is
like,
funny.
oh, you got to see this part.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
All right. And Greg, where are you going with this and why?
I was thinking 3.5 stars out of 5. You know, it's a solid adult edgy comedy. It happens to be a Christmas movie. Everybody loves Christmas movies. It's not a Hangover or one of these sort of ethereal, top of the line, comedies that are kind of groundbreaking. But I think it does a nice job, and it was fun.
Yeah.
I agree with you for sure. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 because I laughed a lot. Sometimes I was laughing because it was just way too cringy and I didn't really want to be.
The nervous
For me, it
laugh.
went a little, yeah, kind of
"This
like
should
the
be
nervous
funny,
laugh.
but
Like,
it's
oh
a
my gosh,
little
that
on
was
the
a little
edge."
too much.
Yeah.
That was a little far. But then it would draw you back in and it had moments that I could relate to, anyone with a family can relate to. So I like that part of it. And definitely in a stressful time of year, it can be fun just to kind of sit back with some friends, definitely adult friends, and laugh about it. It would only be a few friends that I would watch this with. Definitely not my mother or my mother-in-law or my children. But it could be fun, like for a girls' movie or something just to escape the holiday crazies. But again, in some areas, I felt like they might have taken it just a little too far for me.
So I came in thinking 2.5, but I'll go ahead and give it a solid 3.0. I felt like we laughed the whole time. And it didn't let up. And by the way, this is an hour and 44 minutes.
That's kind of long.
Yeah, for a comedy to go over an hour and a half, a Christmas comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel that long.
No, it didn't.
So that's a good sign. So for those reasons, I'm going 3.0.
Yeah, there was no like lull where you were like, okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, like 30 seconds maybe here
Yeah.
and there. But it moved the pacing was good.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we kind of covered this a little bit, but we'll just go back over it. So Carrie, so who would you recommend it to watch this movie, or would you not recommend it to anyone?
So during COVID, my girlfriends and I, we were all on this group text and couldn't see each other, so we would make drinks in Zoom. And I titled our text chain "The Boozy Babes."
I love it.
So definitely the Boozy Babes.
Definitely.
That would be a crowd pleaser for us. But like you said, definitely not my kids, definitely not anybody's parents, but just people who can get through the cringe and enjoy it for what it is. And it's a funny, not so much slapstick comedy, but like just a fun, a little over the top comedy.
Yes.
How about you, Greg? Who'd you recommend it to?
I'm going to stay in the same vein here. You know, my buddies, my friends, other couples we hang out with. You know,
But would you recommend it to like the husband and be like, you should watch this with your wife?
not really in that way.
Because you wouldn't be like, Justin, you've got to watch Bad Moms Christmas.
No, probably not. Probably not. Well, that's an interesting point, right?
You know?
But again, if you're just looking for a fun Christmas getaway comedy, right, it fits that bill.
Yeah.
And I think it's fine for that. But yeah, don't go watch this with your grandparents.
No.
Okay, well, I mean, I agree. I'm going to just recommend a few people in my circle, not very many. And definitely,
Like, Carrie, you're already here.
yeah, Carrie's here. No, there's a few friends that I would watch it with. My sister-in-law, definitely, because just we're all moms and we can relate to that, and it would be funny. But again, it's not like going to be the one where I'm like, oh, you have to see this movie,
Right.
But it might be like, if it was on and maybe we were together, oh, just put this on. There's a few, there's some really funny parts in this, that we would all think it was funny.
I feel the same way. I have some like old friends that I grew up with who would enjoy it. I wouldn't necessarily, like Greg said, say, hey, make a point of putting this on. But I would say if it came on, watch it and there'll be some funny parts. And it's a change of pace Christmas movie. So
It's true. It is definitely a change of pace. It's not your typical family Christmas time. Let's all grab some popcorn and sit in front of the TV together.
Yeah.
Kind of movie. So it does fit the ticket if you're looking for more adult entertainment during the Christmas time.
Yeah.
So with that, what is your favorite holiday film, Carrie?
I think it depends. Like, if I'm with my parents, I like to watch It's a Wonderful Life because we grew up watching that. If I'm with my kids, we're watching Elf like every day from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Gotcha.
And now that they're older and they quote it, it's just fun and wholesome. But, I also love some Home Alone.
Yeah.
all right, so pick one.
I mean, if I had to pick one, I guess I got to go with Elf.
Okay.
That was my guess. I thought
Great cast, great soundtrack.
All right, and Greg, where are you going?
Mine is unquestionably National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
All right.
And in the sense that it's kind of the grandfather of these over-the-top, comedy movies, right? At the same time as Caddyshack and some others back then. But I just, it's classic and it is ageless. It does not get bad with time passing. It's just great comedy.
It does age well. I agree.
I think, thinking of Bad Moms and National Lampoons, you see the dad go through the meltdown stage in Christmas Vacation. And I know you relate to that, and I know my dad definitely did. You probably do too, with wanting to have this great Christmas for your kids, but just the overwhelming stress of everyone's attitude and
Definitely
what's
the
going
same
on.
concept with getting it all together,
Yeah.
dealing with family, meeting deadlines,
Yep.
running into problems.
Definitely. All right. Well, with that, Carrie, is there anything that you would like to promote your business?
Oh, well, two things actually. So if you are looking for any hiring needs or you need to build out your hiring plan for the year, my company's called Design to Hire. It's designtohire.com, not the number 2, TO. I offer tons of different services for all different industries, everything from recruiting to handbooks to, designing your interview process. So that's my big girl job. My other side gig is just mixing cocktails, and I really want to get more back into that. But there is an Instagram you can follow. It's CNC_cocktails at Instagram, and you can also find that on YouTube and see all the videos that I did a couple years ago, and just haven't spent enough time doing that lately. But it was really fun to come and make Mai Tais here tonight.
Oh my gosh. And they
And a
were
classic Mai
delicious.
Tai
It was
with
awesome.
all the interesting ingredients, and not the one you get on 6th Street that's just orange juice, pineapple juice, and grenadine.
No, it was very fresh and very delicious. So y'all go check her out for sure.
Thank you.
So, Greg, how about you? What would you like to promote?
Well, I would just give a second vote to the cocktail videos and the mixology Carrie demonstrates on the YouTube.
I remember seeing those during COVID.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And during COVID, it was important fun.
It was. It was.
I will put the links, or at least the handles, in the show notes.
Great.
On all the platforms.
Great.
So people can see that.
All right. Very good. Thank you for joining this discussion of our 49th Ring film, Bad Moms Christmas. Please like, follow, and comment.
Yes, please share and spread the word about Holiday Film Countdown. Thank you, Carrie and Greg, for joining us. And thanks to all our listeners. Next week, we're moving on to our 48th ranked holiday film, which will take us to Cloverdale, Massachusetts.